Hello, people. Let's use the force. Positive mental attitude. You know how we do. So, I'm wearing my wolf cap. I'm wearing my emblem. And I got my beads on. So what I thought I'd talk about today, because I want to try and say something every day, like I've said before, because this to me is very important that we bear in mind each other's state, that we and what I'm thinking about to motivate me saying this is when you are just becoming aware of something, like like there are many people that are starting to believe and see that there's so many inconsistencies with the situation we're in at the moment, and just still, when you start to look into information, it can be quite overwhelming. You will, you want to, like I've said before, normally people want to share, right? For whatever reason. And when you get that opposition, it's all too easy to react with emotion, right? I've been there, I've done it. That's why I'm speaking, right? And I find it really helpful to thyself, right? To just bring yourself back and go, like, okay, so you won't have heard me unless I used it as a, like I'm just about to, but I'm not sure that I have, but you won't hear me calling people sheeple, right? This was a very popular term that was getting bandied around the multiple groups of information seekers, because when you become aware of some things, it's all too easy to either look down on others or to cast some type of judgment or to get angry, over emotionally react. And so really what I want to encourage in this video is the bringing yourself back again, right? To anyone who posts any information and they get the opposition, is to just simply remind yourself that, like me, once you didn't know some stuff. Now, to me, the beautiful thing is that most of us really don't trust the government, which is fucking standard, right? Why would we really? So then it becomes really tricky in a time like this, where it's so intense. It takes a bit of self-control and processing when, like I see children in masks, and that's one of the hardest things for me. That is one of the hardest things for me. And I was talking to a guy the other day, big up Gerald, and we were talking, about this current situation. And he said to me, do you know what, right? Just down the road from where I live, he was like, I've seen two old people collapse in the street. They're wearing their masks, right? And he's like, I've seen these old people, because he works in the area. And they've been wearing a mask for hours. And then they collapse in the heat and without that free flow of oxygen, right? And a bit of research I did, and what they were talking about was how, you breathe in, right? the oxygen, and then you breathe out the carbon. But then if you're wearing some type of cover-up, the carbon that's coming out is hitting that cover, right? It's not all just going out. So then when you breathe in again, you're actually taking in that carbon. So all of a sudden you start getting more. Now, it's tricky, right? Because I want to accept everyone's right to do what they will, but also I feel this deep urge to speak out, because these people we don't trust are setting in these rules that, to me, through what I've seen, seems more harmful than good. The inconsistencies that I urge you all to look for. Like, the next opportunity I get, I am going to speak to the next police officers I see, and I'm going to ask them how they are going to feel, or how they feel justified in implementing this mask law when they're not wearing them. And do they realise the A, inconsistency, and the B, the hypocrisy? So, none of this is easy, right? And I guess, to me, one of the reasons why I speak out is because I feel and think and believe that if we don't, in this age, over the next 5 years, I'm not saying now, like you've got to now do this, you know, I'm not like that, right? But if we don't become more aware of this situation, the psychological aspects that are at play, right? Like, I like to look at life in a more simplistic way, because I feel that is a good way of seeing a bigger picture. But also, you know, because I find it less confusing when I simplify things, right? Because life can be fucking confusing. But there is complexity at work. We live in a structure that is hierarchical, right? We all know this. This is not a conspiracy, right? Like, I rarely talk about anything that can be classed as a conspiracy. I'm not into that. You know, I'm about the humankind, right? I'm about let's fucking love. I'm about let's accept each other. But there's some things that we shouldn't accept, right? Right? Like paedophilia, like rape, like murder, like fucking manipulation. These things should not be accepted. Okay? Now, and that's heavy, right? I don't even like saying that shit. But we're in a situation that is pretty severe. Like, looking real talk, when you compare statistics and numbers that can all be fiddled and lied, right? But what we can see is that this situation where the planet's being detained, the people on the planet are being detained, the reasons aren't quite sufficient enough, okay? It's like flu is way more deadly. You don't see the flu vaccine being enforced on healthy young people. Children's immune system is still growing and getting strong, and they need to get germs. Children are stronger when they're rolling in the dirt, when they're climbing up trees, when they're playing with their friends in the park and rolling around and being silly. That helps the immune system. So in a society that perpetually is reducing that, whether you believe that to be on purpose or not is regardless, right? If it's an accident, even more reason to act. If it's not an accident, even more reason to act, right? Like, our immune systems as healthy adults has no need for vaccinations against something like this. If we just compare it with flu, then we know that, okay, this isn't that bad. The death rate is not that bad in comparison to flu. I feel particularly because I've lost 2 members of my family, my dad and my granddad, to cancer. Cancer kills so many people, it's unreal. And I've made my points on that, you know. So it's, none of it's easy, right? And I'm not into pointing fingers. When I'm making a point, right? Like when I'm out walking my dog, and sometimes, like maybe I might see 3 or 4 people throughout my hour-and-a-half dog walk, right? That are like masked up, and normally they're old. And do you know what I do? I make a point of smiling at them. I make a point of it, like, I'm that guy anyway, right? You see me walking down the road, and if you catch my eye, I'm like, you're right. That's just me, right? But I really want them to feel my love. The people that are so scared that they're walking around with masks on during the day outside of buildings in totally low risk areas, right? Those people need some love, right? And this is the thing. The more hate we buy into, the more separation we buy into, the more we fight our corner on something, well, that's going to be detrimental, isn't it? That is not something that's going to unify people to grow into something better. Now, I know a lot of people just want to let the government sort it out, let someone else sort it out. Look, you don't need to be the leader. You don't need to be the big decision maker. But with a little bit more decision input, with a little bit more love-orientated motivation, we really can have a positive impact, and we can support and help the people that really are leading movements. I'm not a movement leader. I know that, and I'm cool with that. And I've seen and found people that are, and they have my support in many different ways. You know, like I was joking with someone. I was like, what was it I said? It's like, I'm not a movement leader with a soundtrack to the movement. Right? Music is my thing. Speaking out is my thing. Organisation, it's not my strongest point. I'll work on it, but it's not my strongest point. And I realise to be in a position where you're leading movements like the Save Our Rights UK group, the woman who's running that has got leadership qualities, and she doesn't even want to be a leader. She gets that leaders are a detrimental part of society. So it's about giving support to them people, you know, and showing that we are thinking about what we're going through. We're feeling about what we're going through. It's pulling them feelings out and sort of putting yourself in someone else's shoe. You know, like if someone's that scared that they feel they need to wear a mask all the time, you know, if someone's around you, just showing them that respect, showing them a bit of love, you know, and if the conversation comes up, letting them know they don't have to wear it, but knowing why. Anyway, we're coming up to that time, and I'm not going to run over again today, so I'm going to say, let's use the force. Keep a positive mental attitude. Let's be kind with our thoughts and keep loving our hearts, and let's get it. Get what, John? Awareness, of course. Peace in.